The grand hall of the Galactic Council fell silent as Ambassador Marcus Donovan strode forward, his footsteps echoing against polished obsidian floors. Thousands of alien representatives watched from tiered seating that stretched upward into darkness. The 7 high counselors, representing the oldest spacefaring civilizations, stared down from their elevated platform, expressions unreadable on faces that barely resembled anything human. "The human speaks without permission," hissed Counselor Vrax, chitinous mandibles clicking in disapproval. Marcus didn't falter. Behind him stood Admiral Eleanor Rivera and General Thomas Blackwood, humanity's military leaders, faces carved from stone. A holographic display activated behind them, showing the smoldering ruins of New Eden Colony. 2.3 million human souls erased in a single day. "Permission was never required," Marcus replied, his voice carrying throughout the chamber without needing amplification. "Not for victims seeking justice." High Chancellor Zolteth leaned forward, luminescent eyes narrowing. "You were summoned to answer for Earth's unauthorized military buildup, not to make accusations." Marcus smiled, not the diplomatic smile he'd worn for 15 years as humanity's representative, but something predatory. "We're not here to be judged. We're here to inform you of what happens next." A murmur rippled through the assembled delegates. "The Mokhtar Imperium's attack on New Eden violated every treaty they signed," Marcus continued, activating a second hologram. Classified intelligence footage showing Mokhtar warships entering human space. "An act of genocide authorized by Imperator Drak himself, who sits among you today." The massive Mokhtar delegate rose from his seat, roaring denial. "Preposterous. The humans fabricate evidence." "We tracked your quantum signatures," interrupted Admiral Rivera, stepping forward. "We have your military communications. We have survivors' testimony." General Blackwood activated a third hologram, a timer counting down from 72 Gumang. "Humanity extended our hand in peace for 40 years, Marcus said, voice hardening. "We followed your regulations, restricted our expansion, limited our military, shared our medical advances, and our reward was genocide." Chancellor Zolteth's tendrils writhed nervously. "What is the meaning of this countdown?" 3 days, Marcus replied. "That's how long the Mokhtar Imperium has to surrender those responsible and provide reparations. After that, you threaten war against the most powerful empire in the galaxy," laughed the Imperator. "Your species is barely out of its gravity well. You have no allies here." "We're not declaring war," Marcus said, a terrible calm in his voice. "We're declaring extinction." The room erupted in shouts and protests as Marcus revealed humanity's final hologram, detailed schematics of weapons technologies the Council had never seen before, developed in secret, weapons that could unmake worlds. "We played by your rules," Marcus concluded as the Council chamber descended into chaos. "Now we play by ours." The Earth delegation was escorted to private chambers after the explosive session. Guards from 6 different species surrounded them, ostensibly for protection. But the message was clear: they were being watched. "That went well," Admiral Rivera said dryly once they were alone. Marcus loosened his formal collar. "It went exactly as expected." "The Mokhtar won't surrender," General Blackwood said, studying tactical displays on his secure tablet. "Their cultural framework doesn't allow for it." "We know," Marcus replied. "That was never the point." A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal a slender, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and compound eyes. "Ambassador Trell of the Nevan Confederation." "Ambassador Donovan," Trell said, voice melodic. "May I enter?" Marcus nodded and Trell glided into the room. "The Council is in emergency session," Trell said. "Many are calling for Earth's immediate sanction." "Let them try," Admiral Rivera said, crossing her arms. Trell's compound eyes shifted, focusing on each human in turn. "Others are quietly impressed. The Mokhtar have grown too powerful. Many species have suffered their expansionary incidents without recourse. And yet the Council did nothing," Marcus said. "The Council maintains balance." "The Mokhtar are founding members. The Council maintains the status quo," Marcus interrupted, "which benefits the strong and punishes the weak. Until now." Trell's upper arms formed a traditional gesture of concession. "The Nevan Confederation wishes to understand Earth's true intentions. We are not unsympathetic to your position." Marcus exchanged glances with his colleagues. This was also expected. The timer is not negotiable, he said. But afterward, Earth would value allies who recognized justice when others would not. Trell departed with a formal bow, and General Blackwood immediately activated counter-surveillance measures. Phase 1 complete, the general said. The fracturing begins, Marcus nodded grimly. Prepare the orbital platforms, and contact Director Kaplan. Tell him to activate the Sentinel protocol. The Sentinels weren't scheduled for deployment until we've been accelerated, Marcus cut in. The Mokhtar won't wait 3 days before attempting a first strike. Admiral Rivera's communicator pulsed. Her face hardened as she read the message. Too late. Long-range sensors detect a Mokhtar battle group has already changed course. Estimated arrival at Earth, 36 hours. Faster than we predicted, Marcus said, face grim. They're desperate. They should be, General Blackwood replied. On the Mokhtar flagship Indomitable Conquest. Imperator Drax slammed his armored fist against the command console. The humans dare threaten us? They are insects. His war council stood silently. 4 elite commanders waiting for the rage to pass. Drax chief strategist Karks finally spoke. The humans' ultimatum was clearly planned, Imperator. Their confidence suggests capability we may have underestimated. Drax's yellow eyes narrowed. You suggest we fear them? After crushing their colony so easily? I suggest we consider how they obtained classified intelligence about the New Eden operation. Karks replied carefully. Our stealth systems were compromised without detection. That alone indicates technology beyond what we believed they possessed. Drax stalked to the view screen showing Earth's solar system. Their colony was a test. Their response is irrelevant. We will strike their homeworld and end this. The Council may intervene. The Council debates while we act, Drax snarled. By the time they reach consensus, Earth will be ash. Karks exchanged glances with the other commanders. As you command, Imperator. In the corridor outside, Karks caught up with Fleet Commander Vox. The Imperator's judgment is clouded, Karks whispered. The humans were prepared for our attack, almost as if they wanted it. Vox's scales shifted nervously. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we prepare contingencies. When we reach Earth, we may find more than we expect. Back on Earth, in a facility buried beneath the Antarctic ice, Director Kaplan received Marcus's message. The aging director looked at his assembled team, the brightest minds humanity had hidden from the galactic community. Ladies and gentlemen, Sentinel Protocol is active. The Mokhtar have taken the bait. Dr. Lydia Vega, quantum physicist and lead designer of the Sentinel program, stepped forward. The orbital platforms aren't ready. We needed another month. We don't have another month, Kaplan replied.
Deploy what we have.
And activate the deep space units, Lydia's eyes widened. The deep space units are untested. They're all we've got, Kaplan said firmly. This was always a gamble, Doctor. Now we see if it pays off. Across Earth's military installations, personnel moved with practiced efficiency as defense protocols activated. But unlike the panicked preparations for invasion that the Mokhtar might expect, there was a steady, almost predatory focus in orbit. Stealth platforms that had remained hidden even from the Council's monitoring systems powered up. Buried in the moon's surface, weapon systems aimed outward. And throughout the solar system, automated drones activated, their quantum signatures masked. On a civilian news broadcast, the President of the United Earth Government addressed her people. Citizens of Earth, as you know, our colony on New Eden was attacked without provocation. Today, we inform the Galactic Council that this atrocity will not stand unanswered. The Mokhtar Imperium has responded by dispatching a battle fleet toward Earth. She paused, her expression not of fear but of grim determination. For decades, we have prepared for this possibility while presenting a facade of compliance to the Council. Today, that preparation will be tested. We do not seek war, but neither will we perish quietly. The Mokhtar believe they face a vulnerable world. They will discover just how wrong they are. As night fell over Earth's major cities, civilians entered orderly evacuation protocols, moving to hardened shelters built in secret over decades. There was fear, yes, but also a strange relief. The charade was over. Humanity was done playing by rules designed to keep them weak. In space, the first automated sensors detected the Mokhtar fleet emerging from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. The invaders had arrived and Earth was ready. The Mokhtar battle group emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol's system, 20 massive warships arranged in attack formation. On the flagship's bridge, Imperator Drac watched with anticipation as Earth's blue sphere appeared on the main view screen. "Weapon status," he commanded. "Primary planetary bombardment cannons charged." Imperator reported his weapons officer, targeting Earth's major population centers. Drac's scaled lips pulled back in a savage smile. "Begin approach. Launch fighter squadrons." Hundreds of smaller craft poured from the capital ships, forming a protective screen as the fleet accelerated toward Earth. "No sign of defensive mobilization," announced the sensor officer. "Their orbital stations appear powered down." Chief Strategist Karks frowned. "This contradicts their posture at the Council. They threatened extinction, yet offer no resistance, because they were bluffing," Drax sneered. "A species of diplomats, not warriors." As the Mokhtar fleet passed Mars orbit, a proximity alarm blared across the bridge. "Unidentified objects detected," the sensor officer shouted. "Thousands of them surrounding our position." "Impossible," Drac roared. "There was nothing on our scans." On the view screen, space itself seemed to ripple as thousands of small metallic objects appeared from nowhere, each barely larger than a human hand. "The objects are emitting quantum signatures." "They were masked by phase technology," the science officer reported, voice shaking. "Imperator, we are completely surrounded." "Destroy them," Drac commanded. The Mokhtar ships fired energy weapons, lashing out at the nearest objects. Several were vaporized, but the rest began moving with impossible acceleration, evading the barrage with ease. "They're too fast. Our targeting systems can't—" The officer's words died as the first of the objects attached to a Mokhtar cruiser's hull. Then another and another. Within seconds, hundreds of the devices clung to each ship in the fleet. "What are they doing?" Drac demanded. His answer came as the devices pulsed with blue light and systems across the Mokhtar fleet began shutting down. "Power failure across all vessels," reported the engineering officer. "Weapons offline. Engines offline. We're dead in space." For the first time, fear crept into Drac's voice. "What is this technology?" In Earth's Antarctic Command Center, Director Kaplan watched the operation unfold on holographic displays. "Sentinels have neutralized 93% of the Mokhtar fleet systems," reported a technician. "Life support and gravity remain functional as directed." Dr. Lydia Vega allowed herself a small smile. 3 decades of quantum entanglement research, and they never saw it coming. "The Sentinels were the easy part," Kaplan replied. "Now for Phase 2. He activated his comm system. "Ambassador Donovan, the stage is yours." On the paralyzed Mokhtar flagship, the bridge crew froze as their communication screen activated without command. Ambassador Marcus Donovan's face appeared. "Imperator Drac, your fleet has been neutralized by our Sentinel defense system. Your weapons are disabled. Your engines are offline. You are, in every meaningful sense, at our mercy." Drac's rage was palpable. "You will die for this, human." "Actually," Marcus replied calmly, "I'm offering you life. Your life and the lives of your crews." Kark stepped forward. "What are your terms, Ambassador?" "Unconditional surrender of all Mokhtar forces. Immediate withdrawal from human space. Full reparations for New Eden. And the architects of the genocide handed over for trial." "The Mokhtar Empire does not surrender," Drac bellowed. Marcus's expression hardened. "Then observe what happens to those who attack Earth." The communication switched to external cameras showing one of the smaller Mokhtar vessels. The Sentinels attached to its hull pulsed with red light instead of blue. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship simply dissolved. Metal, systems, and unfortunately its crew, breaking down into component atoms in less than 30 seconds. Silence fell over the Mokhtar bridge. "That was a demonstration on your lightest cruiser," Marcus continued when the feed returned to him. "Your flagship is currently hosting 5,000 Sentinels. They await only my command." Karks turned to Drac, scales pale. "Imperator, we must consider." "Silence." Drac roared, but the fear in his voice was unmistakable. "You have 1 hour to decide," Marcus said. "I suggest you use it wisely." The screen went dark. In the Galactic Council chamber, chaos reigned as reports of the Mokhtar fleet's neutralization reached the delegates. High Chancellor Zolteth struggled to maintain order. "This emergency session will come to order." The Chancellor's amplified voice boomed over the commotion. The Nevan representative, Trell, rose from his seat. "The Council must address what has occurred. Humans have deployed technology far beyond their registered capabilities. Technology that violates multiple council restrictions, added the representative of the Ziliari Dominion, a gaseous being contained within an environment suit. Marcus Donovan entered the chamber, followed by Admiral Rivera. The room fell silent at their appearance. Technology restrictions that were implemented specifically to keep emerging species vulnerable, Marcus said, voice carrying across the chamber, while established powers like the Mokhtar were permitted to maintain planet-killing weapons. You deliberately concealed your capabilities, accused Councillor Vrax. A violation of what? Admiral Rivera interrupted. The same agreements the Mokhtar violated when they destroyed New Eden? The same agreements this council failed to enforce? Chancellor Zolteth's tendrils writhed with agitation. Where is the Mokhtar delegation? Imperator Drac and his commanders are currently experiencing the consequences of their actions, Marcus replied. Their fleet has been neutralized, not destroyed yet. We await their surrender. Murmurs spread throughout the chamber. And what of Earth's ultimatum? Asked a representative from the Hral Collective. Your countdown continues. Marcus stepped to the central podium. Earth has defended itself against immediate threat. The ultimatum stands for the broader Mokhtar Empire. They must answer for New Eden. And if they refuse? Chancellor Zolteth asked. Then the sentinels we deployed against their battle fleet will be deployed against their empire. The chamber erupted again. When order was restored, the Ziliari representative spoke. The deployment of such weapons throughout Mokhtar space would require decades of preparation. Marcus smiled thinly. Who said they aren't already there? In the Mokhtar flagship's conference room, the War Council was in disarray. These sentinels could be anywhere. Fleet Commander Vox said, pounding the table. If they can mask their quantum signatures, they could have infiltrated our homeworlds already, finished another commander grimly. This is a bluff, Drac insisted, but with less conviction. The humans couldn't possibly have. Look at what they've already done, Karks interrupted. Their technology surpasses our understanding. How many colonies did we survey before attacking New Eden? 4? What if those weren't their only settlements? What if each time we observed their apparently primitive defenses, we were seeing only what they wanted us to see? A communication officer burst into the room. Imperator, we're receiving reports from the homeworld. Unknown devices have been discovered in orbit around all major Mokhtar planets. Drac collapsed into his chair, the truth finally sinking in. How long? He whispered. How long have they been preparing for this? Karks's answer was interrupted as Marcus Donovan's face appeared on the conference room screen. Your hour is nearly up, Imperator Drac. Have you reached a decision? Drac looked around at his commanders, seeing only defeat in their eyes. The Mokhtar. Surrender, he said, the words burning his throat. Marcus nodded. Wise choice. Your ships will be allowed to return to Mokhtar space under escort. You and your War Council will remain as prisoners pending trial for the New Eden Genocide. And our empire, Karks asked, will survive under supervision. The Sentinel network will remain in place to ensure compliance with Council directives moving forward. After the transmission ended, Karks turned to Drac. How did we misjudge them so severely? We believed what they showed us, Drac replied bitterly. A young, compliant species, when all along they were wolves in sheep's clothing. Back on Earth, Marcus and Admiral Rivera joined Director Kaplan in the Antarctic facility. The Mokhtar surrendered, Marcus said. Phase 2 complete. Kaplan nodded, but his expression remained grave. The galaxy now knows some of what we can do. The question is, how will they respond? With fear, Admiral Rivera suggested. With reassessment, Marcus countered. Already 3 council species have reached out for private talks. Dr. Lydia Vega entered carrying a data tablet. The Sentinel network is stable. All units report optimal function. And the Mokhtar homeworlds? Kaplan asked. The orbital units revealed themselves as planned. They believe we've had this capability for years. Kaplan turned to a massive holographic display showing the galaxy, with human territory highlighted in blue and the vastly larger Mokhtar Empire in red. The Mokhtar were just the beginning, he said quietly. Our surveillance indicates at least 2 other major powers were considering similar moves against us. Then we continue as planned, Marcus said firmly. The Council needs restructuring. The technological restrictions need elimination. And humanity needs a seat at the table, not as supplicants but as equals. And if they resist? Admiral Rivera asked. Marcus's expression hardened. Then they learn what we've known all along. Civilization isn't. 1 week after the Mokhtar surrender, the Galactic Council convened an extraordinary session. The Grand Chamber, designed to inspire awe with its soaring crystalline dome and ancient ceremonial platforms, now felt tense and uncertain. Species that had barely acknowledged humanity's existence now watched the Earth delegation with wary respect, or barely concealed fear. Chancellor Zolteth's voice echoed through the chamber. This emergency session will address the human deployment of unauthorized weapon systems and the subsequent capitulation of the Mokhtar Imperium. Ambassador Marcus Donovan sat calmly at Earth's assigned position, now upgraded from the lower tiers to a more prominent location. Admiral Rivera and General Blackwood flanked him, alongside a new addition, Dr. Lydia Vega, introduced simply as a technical advisor. Marcus rose when acknowledged. Chancellor, members of the Council, Earth appreciates the prompt attention to recent events. However, let's be precise in our terminology. These were defensive measures deployed after a member species committed genocide against our colony. Your defensive measures have effectively subjugated the third largest empire in known space, countered Counselor Vrax, mandibles clicking rapidly. The balance of power was already severely imbalanced, Marcus interrupted. That was rather the point. The Ziliari representative's environment suit pulsed with agitated light patterns. The humans concealed quantum phase technology, nano-disassemblers, and fleet-wide neutralization systems. All violations of technology containment protocols. Dr. Vega spoke for the first time, her voice measured. Protocols implemented against Earth and other emerging species, while founding council members maintained planet killers and bioweapons. Those same protocols prevented us from defending New Eden. A new voice entered the conversation, Ambassador Trell of the Nevan Confederation. Perhaps the more pressing question is not what Earth concealed, but why such concealment was necessary. The chamber quieted as Trell continued. The Mokhtar annihilated a human colony without provocation. Had Earth followed protocols and petitioned this council for justice, what would have happened? Based on precedent, years of investigation followed by economic sanctions at most. Chancellor Zolteth's tendrils writhed uncomfortably. The council process ensures stability for whom? Marcus asked sharply. In 40 years of membership, 17 non-founding species have suffered territorial aggression from founding members. None received meaningful intervention from this council. He activated the central holographic display, showing a galactic map with conflict zones highlighted. The system isn't broken, Chancellor. It's working exactly as designed, to maintain the dominance of founding species at the expense of newer members. You cannot seriously suggest, began Counselor Vrax. I suggest nothing, Marcus replied. I'm stating facts and proposing changes. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Earth seeks a reorganization of the council structure, Marcus continued. Equal representation regardless of membership duration. Universal technology access, and a rapid response enforcement mechanism with actual authority. Or else what? Demanded the Hral representative. More sentinels? Marcus's expression remained neutral. Earth desires partnership, not dominance. But we won't return to a system designed to keep us vulnerable. The council chamber erupted into heated discussions. As delegates argued, Admiral Rivera leaned toward Marcus. Phase 3 is proceeding as expected, she whispered. Marcus nodded slightly. And our other initiative? Intelligence reports unusual activity on Vega Prime. Director Kaplan believes we've found something. On Vega Prime, a neutral trading hub at the intersection of several major shipping lanes, Commander Alexis Jang moved carefully through the crowded alien marketplace. Her Earth Defense Force uniform was concealed beneath local attire, a hooded robe favored by the planet's merchant class. Target is moving east, said a voice in her earpiece. Lieutenant Parker, her second-in-command, was positioned on a balcony overlooking the market. Confirmed, Zhang sub-vocalized, the throat mic picking up her words. Maintain distance. Their target, a Krell information broker named Thax, slipped through the crowd toward a side alley. The Krell were reptilian beings known for their extensive information networks and strict neutrality. This particular broker had been flagged after analyzing Mokhtar communications captured during the fleet engagement. Zhang followed discreetly, noting 2 Mokhtar guards positioned at the alley entrance. Interesting. Despite their empire's surrender, these warriors showed no sign of diminished pride. Multiple hostiles, she warned her team. Standby protocols. She approached the alley, affecting the distracted demeanor of a shopper. As she drew level with the guards, one stepped forward. "This area restricted," he growled in broken galactic standard. Zhang looked up with practiced confusion. "I seek the textile merchant." "Wrong place, go." She nodded apologetically and turned away. Once clear, she subvocalized. "Need alternate access." "Rooftop possible?" "Affirmative," Parker replied. "Meeting appears to be in Building 3. Sending schematics to your lens." Zhang blinked as building plans appeared on her retinal implant. A service entrance on the western side looked promising. 20 minutes later, she crouched in ventilation ductwork above a dimly lit room, recording the conversation below through a small opening. Thax the Krell sat at a circular table with 3 others, a Mokhtar official, a hooded figure of unknown species, and most surprisingly, a being she recognized as Rahl, aide to Counselor Vrax. "The humans have disrupted everything," the Mokhtar was saying angrily. "Decades of preparation wasted." "Not wasted," replied the hooded figure, voice modulated to prevent identification. "Delayed. The convergence proceeds merely on a different timeline. The Sentinels change everything," argued Rahl. "If humans can monitor all Mokhtar space, the Sentinels are impressive but limited," the hooded figure replied. "Our sources confirm they cannot possibly cover all claimed territory. The humans are bluffing about their extent." Thax's scaled fingers tapped the table. "What matters is the extraction. Was it completed before New Eden's destruction?" The Mokhtar nodded. "Genetic samples from 80% of the population, delivered as specified." Zhang's blood ran cold. They'd harvested genetic material before the genocide. "Then the setback is manageable," the hooded figure concluded. "The humans revealed their technology sooner than anticipated, but the Council restructuring plays into our hands. When the convergence is ready, their defenses will be irrelevant." Zhang carefully positioned a quantum transmitter to beam this conversation directly to Earth. Whatever this convergence was, it was clearly connected to the New Eden massacre and suggested something far larger than Mokhtar aggression alone. Back at the Council chamber, Marcus received an urgent message on his secure communicator. His expression remained neutral as he read Zhang's report, but his pulse quickened. The New Eden attack hadn't been simple territorial aggression. It was part of something called the Convergence Counter, and Council member Vrax was somehow involved. The genocide had been a cover for genetic harvesting. As Marcus processed this revelation, Chancellor Zolteth was calling for a recess. "This council will adjourn for 2 rotations to consider Earth's proposals," the Chancellor announced. Marcus caught Dr. Vega's eye and nodded subtly. It was time for Phase 4. As delegates filed out, Trell of the Neven Confederation approached the Earth delegation. "Ambassador Donovan, High Government wishes to express support for Council restructuring," Trell said, forearms gesturing in a formal pattern. "The Neven Confederation has long sought revision of technology containment protocols." "We appreciate your support, Ambassador," Marcus replied. "Perhaps we could discuss specific proposals." "Of course. Perhaps somewhere private?" Once secured in a diplomatic conference room, Trell's demeanor changed. "Ambassador, I must speak frankly. My government has intelligence suggesting the New Eden attack was not isolated Mokhtar aggression." Marcus studied the alien's compound eyes. "We've reached similar conclusions. Are you familiar with something called the convergence?" Trell's blue skin paled visibly. "Where did you hear that term?" "We have our sources. What can you tell us?" Trell glanced nervously at the door. "Very little is certain. Rumors only of a plan spanning centuries. Species modified or eliminated based on genetic potential. Whispers of hybridization experiments. Who's behind it? Unknown. But certain council members are suspected of involvement." Trell leaned closer. "Ambassador, the Neven Confederation believes Earth is not the first target, merely the most recent." Marcus shared a look with Admiral Rivera. "We need to compare intelligence. This goes beyond council politics." "Agreed," Trell said. "But we must proceed with caution. If the convergence truly exists, its architects have centuries of influence embedded throughout galactic civilization. After Trail departed, Admiral Rivera activated counter-surveillance measures. Commander Zhang's recording confirms Counselor Vrax's involvement, she said. We need to inform Director Kaplan immediately. The question is why, Marcus replied. Why harvest human genetics? Why target New Eden specifically? Dr. Vega, who had been silently processing the information, finally spoke. New Eden was our most genetically diverse colony. Over 30% of residents were gene-modified for enhanced adaptation to the planet's environment. General Blackwood frowned. The Earth Defense Force flagship Vigilance hovered at the edge of the Omega sector, running silent with all non-essential systems powered down. On the bridge, Admiral Rivera studied the holographic display showing dozens of unidentified vessels gathering around a massive space station hidden in the radiation shadow of a neutron star. Thermal and quantum signatures suggest over 70 ships, reported the sensor officer. Mixed configurations, multiple species of origin, and none broadcasting identification, General Blackwood added grimly. Just as our intelligence indicated, Admiral Rivera nodded. Launch the stealth probes. I want to know what we're dealing with. As the probes detached silently from the Vigilance, the communications officer turned from her station. Admiral, priority transmission from Earth. Director Kaplan requests immediate conference. In the secure communications chamber, Director Kaplan's hologram appeared before Rivera and Blackwood. His normally composed face showed signs of strain. Admiral, we've decoded more of the data from Commander Zhang's operation, Kaplan said without preamble. The Convergence isn't just an organization. It's a biological project. They're collecting genetic material from targeted species throughout the galaxy. For what purpose? Rivera asked. Evolution acceleration, Kaplan replied. The evidence suggests they're attempting to create a hybrid species incorporating the most advantageous traits from dozens of genomes. Blackwood frowned. What does this have to do with New Eden? Everything, Kaplan said. Our colonists were specifically targeted because of their adaptive gene modifications. The attack wasn't just about eliminating a human presence, it was a harvesting operation. And Counselor Vrax's involvement? Rivera pressed. That's where it gets interesting, Kaplan replied. Analysis of historical council records shows that Vrax's species, the Arthini, have been present at every major genetic research breakthrough across multiple civilizations for the past 3 centuries. Infiltration? Blackwood suggested. More like patient guidance, Kaplan corrected. We believe the Arthini are the architects of the Convergence. And based on new intelligence from Commander Zhang, they're accelerating their timeline dramatically. Rivera's expression darkened. Because of our Sentinel technology? Precisely. They fear we've developed something that could counter their plans. Kaplan paused. There's more. Ambassador Donovan has uncovered evidence that the technology containment protocols were specifically designed to restrict development in areas that might threaten the Convergence project. The entire galactic balance of power, Blackwood realized, manipulated to protect their experiment. What are your orders, Director? Rivera asked. Continue observation of the Omega Sector installation, Kaplan replied, but prepare for immediate withdrawal if detected. Meanwhile, Ambassador Donovan is proceeding with Phase 5, the Council vote on restructuring. If successful, it will give us the allies we need. And if unsuccessful? Blackwood asked. Kaplan's expression was grim. Then Earth stands alone against the Convergence. In the Grand Council chamber, the final day of deliberations had arrived. Representatives from over 200 species filled the tiered seating, the tension palpable as Chancellor Zolteth called for order. This council will now vote on the Earth proposals for structural reform, the Chancellor announced. Before we proceed, Ambassador Donovan has requested a final statement. Marcus stepped to the central podium, surveying the assembled representatives. For 40 years, humanity had played the role of diplomatic newcomers, careful never to challenge the established order. That pretense was over. Distinguished representatives, Marcus began. Earth's proposals have generated significant debate. Some view our suggested reforms as radical departures from council tradition. Others see opportunity for long overdue change. He paused, making eye contact with key delegates. What few have acknowledged is why these reforms became necessary. Not simply because of the New Eden genocide, but because that tragedy exposed fundamental flaws in our collective security framework. Marcus activated the central display, showing a galactic map with dozens of points highlighted. These are documented instances of aggression against emerging species over the past century. Notice the pattern: founding council members expanding into territories of newer members, with minimal consequences. He zoomed the display to focus on the Arthini homeworlds, Councillor Vrax's territory. And this is something even more troubling. Analysis of historical records shows the Arthini present at genetic research facilities across 17 different species. Always before major breakthroughs, always in advisory roles. Councillor Vrax rose from his seat, mandibles clicking furiously. This is outrageous. The ambassador makes baseless accusations. I've made no accusations yet, Councillor. Marcus interrupted smoothly. I'm simply presenting data. But since you've risen to speak, perhaps you could explain your aide Rawl's meeting with Mokhtar officials and a Krell information broker named Thax. The chamber erupted in murmurs as Marcus displayed images from Commander Zhang's surveillance. Or perhaps, Marcus continued relentlessly, you could explain what the convergence is, and why it required genetic samples from New Eden colonists before their extermination. Vrax's compound eyes darted around the chamber. These are fabrications, human deceptions. The evidence has been provided to all council members, Marcus countered, including communications confirming the Arthini directed the Mokhtar attack specifically to harvest human genetic material. Chancellor Zolteth's tendrils writhed with agitation. Ambassador Donovan, these are extraordinary claims, which require extraordinary evidence, Marcus finished. That evidence has been transmitted to each delegation, but there's more at stake than one councillor's corruption. He changed the display to show the Omega sector. This is happening now, a gathering of unidentified vessels around a hidden installation. Our intelligence suggests this is the Convergence's primary facility, where they've been combining harvested genetic material from dozens of species. Trell of the Nevan Confederation stood. The Nevan Intelligence Directorate confirms Earth's findings. We've tracked similar genetic harvesting operations against our outer colonies. One by one, representatives from other species rose to corroborate elements of Earth's claims. The chamber grew increasingly chaotic as accusations flew. Amid the commotion, Marcus noticed Councillor Vrax slipping away from his position. With a subtle gesture, he alerted security, but the Arthini moved with unexpected speed. Before guards could intercept him, Vrax activated some device on his wrist. His body shimmered and shifted, bypassing the chamber's security barriers as if they weren't there. Security breach, Marcus shouted. Councillor Vrax is escaping. But Vrax was already gone, vanished through technology that should have been impossible within the Council's protective systems. Chancellor Zolteth struggled to restore order. This session is temporarily suspended. All delegates remain in the chamber. Marcus received an urgent message on his secure communicator. His blood ran cold as he read Admiral Rivera's report. Omega Sector installation powering up. Multiple vessels departing. Convergence appears to be mobilizing. He caught Dr. Vega's eye across the chamber and gave a subtle nod. It was time for contingency measures. Aboard the Vigilance, Admiral Rivera watched as the mysterious fleet departed the space station in formation. Track their trajectory, she ordered. Multiple vectors, reported the tactical officer. But primary group appears headed toward Council space. Rivera's expression hardened. They're moving on the Council itself. Vrax must have warned them. Orders, Admiral? Asked Blackwood. Rivera straightened her uniform. Deploy Sentinel platforms throughout this sector. Then set course for the Council station at maximum speed. We need to warn them. The Sentinels alone won't stop that fleet, Blackwood cautioned. No, Rivera agreed. But they'll slow them down. And give Earth time to implement Protocol Omega. Blackwood's eyes widened slightly. Protocol Omega hasn't been tested under combat conditions. The risks are less than the alternatives, Rivera finished grimly. The Convergence has been manipulating galactic civilization for centuries. We won't get a second chance to stop them. In the Council Station's Secure Communications Center, Marcus briefed Earth's leadership on the unfolding crisis. Vrax has escaped and the Convergence fleet is mobilizing, he reported. Admiral Rivera is en route but estimates they're at least 6 hours behind the Convergence vessels. President Isabel Chen of the United Earth Government nodded gravely. And the Council vote? suspended due to the security breach, but the evidence against Vrax was compelling.
Many delegations are demanding action. Too little, too late, Director Kaplan muttered. Perhaps not, Dr. Vega interjected.
The Convergence's accelerated timeline suggests they fear something about our technology. The Sentinels alone shouldn't provoke this response. Unless, Marcus began, a realization forming. Unless they know about Protocol Omega, Kaplan finished. But how? That information is compartmentalized at the highest levels. It doesn't matter now, President Chen decided. If the Convergence is targeting the Council Station, we have no choice. Activate Protocol Omega immediately. Marcus took a deep breath. Madam President, once initiated, there's no turning back. Ambassador, Chen replied firmly. Humanity spent 40 years playing by